The soft lapping of waves against the shore, the whispered secrets of the wind through the trees, and the faint scent of salt water carried on the breeze all blend together to create an atmosphere of quiet mystery on Roanoke Island, a place where the past and present seem to blur like the lines of a fading sunset. As I sit here, lost in thought, I always come back to this one, the story of the lost colony, a tale that has captivated and haunted me for years. The year was 1587, and a group of English settlers, led by John White, had arrived on the island, full of hope and expectation, with dreams of building a new life in the New World. They had chosen this place, with its lush forests and fertile soil, as the perfect location to establish a colony, and for a while, it seemed like their dreams were within reach. The sound of laughter and children's playful shouts would have filled the air. You would have heard the clang of hammers on nails, and the smell of freshly cut wood would have wafted through the trees as the settlers worked tirelessly to build their new homes. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the colony began to struggle, and the atmosphere on the island began to shift, like the shadows that fall across the forest floor as the sun sets. The settlers were faced with disease, starvation, and the ever-present threat of attack from the Native American tribes, who had grown wary of these newcomers and their strange customs. John White, the governor of the colony, had returned to England to gather more supplies and support, but his journey was delayed, and when he finally returned to Roanoke, he found that the colony had vanished, leaving behind only a few cryptic clues, like the word Croatoan carved into a tree, a haunting reminder of the colony's fate. The island, once full of life and promise, was now a desolate and eerie place, shrouded in an impenetrable silence, as if the very spirits of the settlers still lingered, trapped between worlds. The trees stood tall and still, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze, and the wind whispered secrets in a language that only the shadows could understand. And as the darkness deepens, the silence grows thicker, like a fog that clings to the skin, and the island becomes a place of haunting beauty, where the past and present blur, and the lost colony of Roanoke remains, forever shrouded in mystery. As the darkness gathers, and your eyelids grow heavy, you find yourself drifting back to a time when the New World was still a mystery, a place where the lines between reality and myth blurred like the mist that shrouded the coast of what is now North Carolina. It was here, on an island surrounded by the tranquil waters of the Pamlico Sound, that a group of English settlers established the ill-fated colony of Roanoke, their dreams of a new life slowly unraveling like the threads of a worn fabric. I always come back to this one, the story of Roanoke, with its haunting whispers of a people who vanished into the night, leaving behind only the faintest whispers of their presence. The year was 1587, and the colony, led by John White, an artist and cartographer, had arrived on the island with high hopes and grand ambitions, their footsteps quiet on the sandy shores. But as the months passed, the reality of their situation began to sink in, like the slow-rising tide, and the settlers found themselves struggling to survive in a harsh and unforgiving environment. The native Algonquian people, who had initially been friendly, began to view the English with suspicion, and the fragile peace that had existed between them started to fray, like the edges of a well-worn book. You would have heard the sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the cries of seagulls overhead. As the settlers went about their daily lives, their voices hushed in conversation. As the years went by, the colony's fortunes continued to decline, and in 1589, John White set sail for England, hoping to return with much-needed supplies and support. But the journey was delayed, and he didn't return until 1590, when he found the colony abandoned, the only clue to the settlers' disappearance being the word Croatoan carved into a tree, a message that has been interpreted and reinterpreted over the centuries, its meaning still shrouded in mystery. The silence that followed was deafening, a heavy stillness that hung over the island like a veil. And it's this silence that draws me in, a somber and haunting reminder of the transience of human existence, the way that lives can be reduced to nothing more than a faint whisper in the darkness. The stars above twinkled like ice chips in a dark glass as the night wore on and the shadows deepened, a reminder that some secrets are meant to remain unspoken, lost in the passage of time. As the last wisps of summer's warmth fade, and the gentle breeze carries the whispers of a dying season, you find yourself drifting towards the shores of Roanoke, a place where the fabric of history seems to unravel thread by thread, like the soft lapping of waves against the sandy banks. It's August, and the year is 1590, a time when the New World was still a mysterious and unforgiving realm, full of promise and trepidation. I always come back to this one, the tale of the lost colony, a story that has haunted me for years, its secrets and mysteries slowly unfolding like the petals of a dark flower. The sun sets over the colony, casting long shadows across the makeshift homes, the thatched roofs, and the bustling town square, where the sounds of laughter and children's play would have filled the air, a stark contrast to the eerie silence that would soon descend upon the place. John White, the colony's governor, had set sail for England, leaving behind his family, including his granddaughter Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World, a symbol of hope and new beginnings. The plan was to return with much-needed supplies, but fate had other plans, and the seas were treacherous, the journey long and arduous. As the months passed, the colonists waited, their hopes slowly dwindling, like the fading light of a candle in the darkness. They had arrived in Roanoke with high spirits, eager to build a new life, to cultivate the land, and to establish a foothold in the vast and unknown territories of the New World. But now, as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the silence from England was deafening, a heavy stillness that hung in the air like a challenge, a test of their resolve and endurance. The colony was left to fend for itself, struggling to survive in a harsh environment with limited resources and the ever-present threat of disease, hunger, and the unknown. And then, one day, they vanished, leaving behind only a few cryptic clues, like the word Croatoan carved into a tree, a message that would haunt historians and researchers for centuries to come, a reminder of the transience of human existence and the power of nature to erase even the most seemingly permanent marks. The trees stand tall, their branches creaking softly in the breeze, as if whispering secrets to the wind, secrets that only the night can hear and only the darkness can keep. As the darkness gathers around you, the silence is slowly filled with the whispers of the past, and I always come back to this one, the haunting tale of the lost colony of Roanoke, a place where the very fabric of history seems to have been torn apart. It was the late 16th century, a time of great exploration and discovery, when the English had set their sights on the New World, and the island of Roanoke, off the coast of what is now North Carolina, was chosen as the site for a new settlement. The year was 1587, and a group of about 115 colonists, led by John White, an artist and cartographer, had arrived on the island, full of hope and promise, but also faced with the harsh realities of the wilderness. You would have heard the sounds of the sea, the cries of the gulls, and the rustling of the trees in the gentle breeze, a serene atmosphere that belied the challenges that lay ahead. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the colonists struggled to establish themselves, to build a new life in this unforgiving land. But the conditions were harsh, and the native tribes, the Algonquians, were wary of these newcomers, their ways and customs so different from their own. The colony was left to fend for itself, with limited supplies and no clear leader, as John White had returned to England to gather more support. But his journey was delayed, and he didn't return for 3 years, a long and anxious wait, filled with uncertainty and doubt. When he finally arrived, in 1590, he found that the colony had vanished, leaving behind only a few clues, a mysterious word, Croatoan, carved into a tree, a haunting message that has puzzled historians for centuries. The trees, the wind, the sea, all seem to whisper the name, Roanoke, a reminder of the transience of human endeavor, of the fleeting nature of our presence on this earth. And as you drift deeper into the darkness, the silence is filled with the echoes of a forgotten name, a name that has become synonymous with mystery and loss, a reminder that even the most seemingly permanent of settlements can be reduced to nothing more than a memory, a faint whisper in the wind. The darkness closes in, and the silence is almost palpable, a somber reminder of the fragility of human existence and the enduring power of the natural world. As you settle into the darkness, the shadows outside your window seem to grow longer, like the tendrils of a forgotten history, and I find myself drifting back to the Outer Banks, where the lost colony of Roanoke whispers its haunting tale. The year was 1587, and the English had established a foothold on the eastern seaboard, with Sir Walter Raleigh's expeditions paving the way for a permanent settlement. I always come back to this one, the story of Roanoke, with its eerie silence and abandoned dreams. The colonists, led by John White, arrived on the island of Roanoke, nestled between the Pamlico Sound and the Atlantic Ocean, with a sense of hope and trepidation, their footsteps quiet on the sandy shores. The early days were marked by struggle, as the settlers attempted to establish a thriving community, with White, an artist and cartographer, documenting their progress, his sketches and maps a testament to their endeavors. But as the months passed, the colony's fortunes began to wane, and White, fearing for their safety, returned to England to secure more supplies and support, leaving behind his family, including his granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World. You would have heard the sound of the sea, a constant reminder of the vast and unforgiving expanse that separated the colonists from their homeland, as the winds howled and the waves crashed against the shore. The years that followed were marked by turmoil and delay, as White's return was hindered by the English naval war against Spain, and it wasn't until 1590 that he finally set sail for Roanoke, his heart heavy with anxiety. The voyage was long and arduous, with the ships battling against the elements, and when White finally arrived on the island, he was met with an unsettling silence, the colony's fortifications and homes standing empty, the only sign of life, the word Croatoan carved into a tree, a cryptic message that has haunted historians for centuries. The stillness was oppressive, the air thick with the scent of decay and neglect, as if the very land itself was holding its breath, waiting for the return of its vanished inhabitants. And in that moment, the mystery of Roanoke began to unfold, a tale of disappearance and speculation, of a people lost to the sands of time, their story whispered on the wind, a haunting reminder of the transience of human endeavor. As the darkness gathers and your eyelids grow heavy, you find yourself drifting towards the outer banks of North Carolina, where the tranquil waters of the Atlantic Ocean meet the shores of Roanoke Island, a place steeped in mystery and shrouded in an impenetrable silence. It was here, in the late 16th century, that a group of English settlers, led by John White, established a colony, their hopes and dreams carried on the winds of adventure and possibility. The year was 1587, and the New World was full of promise, as the colonists, numbering over 100, including women and children, set about building their new lives, their footprints marking the unspoiled terrain like whispers in the night. I always come back to this one, the story of Roanoke, with its haunting questions and unspoken truths, a testament to the enduring power of human curiosity. The colony's early days were marked by a sense of optimism, as the settlers worked to build their homes, clear the land, and establish trade relationships with the local Native American tribes, the Croatoans and the Algonquins, their interactions a delicate dance of mutual interest and wary suspicion. But as the months passed, the colony's fortunes began to decline, and the settlers found themselves struggling to survive, their daily lives a grind of hard labor and meager rewards, the land yielding its secrets slowly, like a reluctant lover. You would have heard the whispers of discontent, the murmurs of desperation, as the colony's leaders, including John White, who had become the governor, struggled to maintain order and provide for their people, their decisions made in the face of uncertainty, like throwing stones into a dark and bottomless well. And then, in 1587, John White set sail for England, leaving his family, including his granddaughter Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World, behind, his departure a necessary evil, a gamble to secure the colony's future, or so he hoped. But when he returned, 3 years later, in 1590, he found the colony abandoned, the buildings destroyed, and the only clue to the colonists' disappearance, the word Croatoan carved into a tree, a message that has haunted historians and enthusiasts for centuries, a tantalizing hint of a truth that remains forever out of reach. The mystery of Roanoke's demise has become a kind of dark fascination, a siren's call to the imagination, drawing us in with its secrets and its silences, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a beauty to be found, a beauty that is both haunting and mesmerizing. As you sink deeper into the darkness, the shadows of history begin to whisper their secrets, and I find myself drawn to the misty shores of Roanoke Island, where the silence is almost palpable. It's a place where the cypress trees tower above, their knotted branches like nature's own cathedral, and the Spanish moss hangs like a mourner's veil, shrouding the landscape in a somber, ethereal light. I always come back to this one, the lost colony of Roanoke, a tale of mystery and abandonment that has haunted the American conscience for centuries. The year was 1587, and John White, the governor of the colony, had set sail for England, leaving behind his family and a small band of settlers, with the promise of returning soon, but the seas were treacherous, and the voyage was long, and you would have heard the whispers of the wind through the trees, a gentle lullaby that belied the danger that lurked beneath. As the months passed, the colonists waited, but White's return was delayed, and the colony was left to fend for itself, struggling to survive in a hostile environment where the Native American tribes were wary of these newcomers, and the land itself seemed to resist their attempts to cultivate it. The swampy terrain, the scorching summers, and the bitter winters all took their toll, and the colonists began to disappear, one by one, until only a few remained, and even they would eventually vanish, leaving behind only the faintest of clues. A cryptic message etched into the trunk of a tree, Croatoan, a word that has become synonymous with mystery and loss. The trees stand tall, their silence a reminder of the secrets they keep, and the wind stirs the leaves, whispering the names of the forgotten, and in the darkness, you can almost hear the sound of the colonists' footsteps, fading into the distance as they disappeared into the silent swamp, never to be seen again. And so we're left with only the whispers of the past, the faint echoes of a tragedy that unfolded in the darkness, a reminder that even in the most seemingly idyllic of settings, disaster can lurk, waiting to strike, and the silence that follows can be just as haunting as the event itself. The darkness closes in, and the shadows deepen, and you're drawn deeper into the heart of the swamp, where the lost colony of Roanoke waits, its secrets shrouded in mystery, its story a slow, mournful dirge that echoes through the ages. The darkness of the forest, it seems, has swallowed all remnants of the colony, leaving behind only whispers of its existence, faint echoes that drift through the trees like the soft rustling of leaves. You would have heard the sound of the wind, a gentle lapping of waves against the shore, as the last remnants of the settlement disappeared into the night, leaving behind the faint word, Croatoan, carved into the trunk of a tree, a message, a warning, or simply a name. I always come back to this one, the story of Roanoke, a place where the lines between history and mystery blur like the fading light of day. The year was 1590, and the colony, established just a few years prior, had been struggling to survive. The harsh conditions, the lack of food, the constant threat of the native tribes, all taking their toll on the settlers. They had been warned, of course. The Croatoan tribe, with whom they had formed an alliance, had told them of the dangers of the rival tribes, of the unforgiving land, but still they stayed, driven by a sense of purpose, of discovery. And then they vanished, leaving behind only the faintest of clues, a few artifacts, a scattering of words, and the haunting question, what happened to them? The forest, it seems, has kept its secrets, the trees standing sentinel, their branches creaking softly in the breeze, as if whispering secrets to the wind. The darkness, it is a palpable thing, a presence that wraps around you, enveloping you in its soft, black folds, and yet it is in this darkness that we find a strange sort of peace, a sense of resolution, a feeling that the story, though unfinished, is somehow complete. The search for answers, it seems, is what drives us, what haunts us, and yet it is in the not knowing that we find a strange sort of solace, a sense of mystery, of wonder. The Croatoan Road, it winds on, a serpentine path that disappears into the trees, leaving us to ponder, to reflect on the secrets that lie just beyond our reach. And so we are left to wonder, to speculate, to dream of what might have been, of what could have been the lost colony of Roanoke, a place where the past and present blur like the fading light of day.